Today I will be showing you how to make the best apple pie you have ever tasted. You're going to need 4 to 6 apples, 3/4 cups of sugar, 2½ tablespoons of cinnamon, 3 tablespoons of flour, 1 egg white, and 6 tablespoons of butter. You're also going to need an apple corer, a vegetable peeler, a basting brush, and a good knife. Now, you're going to need to wash and dry your apple. That you have your apples washed and dried, you're going to want to core them because it'll make peeling them a lot easier. Did you know that the type of apple you have can determine the taste outcome of your pie? I'm using Golden Delicious today. If you want a more tardy outcome of your pie, I would recommend using a mixture of Granny Smith apples and Golden Delicious. Now, once you have your apple cored, you're going to want to stick your thumb through the hole. It'll make peeling it a lot easier and begin peeling. Did you know the type of apple you have, while it can also determine the taste, and while many are good to use, there are also apples you want to avoid when you're making your apple pie. Apples like Red Delicious can have a bad outcome of how your apple pie will taste. And during the baking process, they tend to turn mushy. And that leaves a lot of people who would probably like apple pie to not like it at all. Once you have your apple fully peeled, you're going to need to take your knife and cut it in half. Then you are going to need to cut it in half one more time for both sides. Then you're going to need to cut it into 3 chunks for each slice. Did you know that while many believe the apple pie was an American dessert, it is believed that the first apple pie was actually made in England, and yet we claim it to be an American dessert. Once you have your apples diced, you're going to need to take your sugar, cinnamon, and flour mixture and mix them together as such. Now, you could probably do this many ways. This is just the easiest. Just take it into a sealed container and shake. Instant good mixture. Once you have your mixture mixed, you're going to take your apple pie crust and just sprinkle it in there. You're going to need to take 2 tablespoons of butter and put it in your microwave for about 10 seconds or less, depending on how fast your microwave is. You're going to pour it in your pie crust. Then you are going to take your apples and pour a little into your pie crust. Then you are going to need to take your powdered mixture and sprinkle it heavily on your pie. You will then need to take another 2 tablespoons of butter and repeat the same process in your microwave. Once you have your butter melted, pour it on top of your apples. And take the rest of your apples and just pour it in there. And then take the rest of your powdered mixture and sprinkle it in there. You will now be doing the last step, your topper. You're going to take your dough and lay it out in a circle and begin cutting it into strips. Once you have your strips cut out, you are going to take the remaining butter, 2 tablespoons, and put it in your microwave for 10 seconds. Pam, I swear to God. And take your egg whites in your basting brush. We're going to need to glaze the tops of your strips with the egg white. The last bit of your butter that you just melted in your microwave, and go ahead and glaze it on top of the egg white mixture, or egg whites. Once your strips are fully glazed, you're going to take them and lay them across your pie. So when you want to lay vertically, and then the next one you want to lay horizontally. You're going to continue this. However, you're going to weave them in and out of every other strip. Once you have finished weaving, you're going to need to heat your oven to 350, and you're going to need to let your pie bake for 45 to 60 minutes. Let your pie cool for about 10 to 15 minutes after you pull it out of the oven, and it'll look like this. Now, don't forget to enjoy your pie.